In today's video, we are going to be talking about why this hurricane season could be very active. We will be talking about the Madden Julian oscillation, as this could affect the hurricane season greatly. Also, we are under a La Nina, and this also could make the hurricane season very active. There will also be a surprise at the end of this video. Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we are going to be talking about a reason why this hurricane season could be so active. Actually, there are multiple reasons, a couple. So let's go ahead and get the video started. But before we do that, I really do ask you to like and subscribe. It helps me a lot, and it gets me in the algorithm so people can get weather aware and why this hurricane season could be so active. Let's go and get into it. Right now, we are looking at the Nino 3.4 index, which affects the hurricane season the most. And we can see right here, we're well into a La Nina right here. Pretty steady line there. As steady, almost as steady as 2020. And 2020 was around right here. Probably about the same. But this is pretty close to what looked like 2020 here. We are seeing we are well into a La Nina phase. That's La Nina. And then El Nino, which is less favorable for the hurricane season, is right there. And then, of course, neutral right here. This causes less shear in the main development region. I'll show you what that is later. And less shear in the Caribbean. Let's go ahead and move on to the next tab. Right now we are looking at 7-day change here. And we are seeing that there is a good bit of cooling throughout the Atlantic here. Only really against the coast we are seeing a good bit of warming, especially right here near Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland, all that. We are seeing a pretty good amount of warming there. But this is, you may be thinking, well, if we have a La Nina, why is it so cold in this region? It's mainly because we are starting out the hurricane season. It is June 4th. And we shouldn't expect anything too warm, too big of signs. It's still early on in the hurricane season, even though we've almost had our first storm, as PTC1 was kind of a disappointment. It didn't form at all. It got absolutely sheared apart as I went over Florida. It's right here now, and it is going to come off there. It absolutely went below my expectations. I thought it could fight off the shear, because right here, when it was right here, it was actually starting to wrap around some convection, but I guess the shear got the best of it, and it couldn't protect itself, and it finally got blown apart. Still could develop over here, though, in the Gulf Stream there off the East Coast. And let's go ahead and look at the mean average, the global mean. Well, not the global mean, but, North Atlantic mean. So, this is basically an anomaly compared to the mean from 1981 to 2010, and we are seeing still, even with that cooling, the Atlantic is very warm here, right there. But again, we are seeing in the Caribbean and the MDR is colder than average. So this is warm, and this is cooler, right? And again, up here it is cooler. So this is what we're looking at the Atlantic. I see a pretty good path here of storms coming off the MDR, not really forming in the MDR, and then forming in the Caribbean and going up into the Gulf. That is a generic hurricane season track. I mean, they could go anywhere. They could go up here. They could go up to the north. They could go up here and then just go straight up. They can go here, here. They could go anywhere, really, but what I'm seeing is probably not too much of element, spinning around there, and then comes in here, and it starts not rapidly intensifying, but it starts to intensify probably around category 2, maybe category 3, and it goes in between here. I mean, if it clipped Cuba, we can probably do a category 2, maybe just stay category 3, but in the Gulf is where I would expect it to rapidly intensify, as the Gulf is always warm and a lot less shear than normal this year because of the La Nina, and this could be very dangerous for people up here. It only takes one storm, guys. There could be 3 storms this season, and one hits the coast, and it could be a bad year. There could be 20 storms this season, but none hit the U.S. That would also be a good year. But a bad year would be when a major hurricane actually hits the U.S. So it only takes one storm. Always be prepared for this hurricane season, and that's what I'm trying to get you to be. Be prepared. Anything can hit you. Even if you're like, say, right here in Virginia, there's still a possibility storms may get to you. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida. Florida, the main people who should really get aware of this hurricane season is Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas, and Louisiana. Those are the main places you really need to watch out for. So basically, over probably starting around right here. This is a lot of people here. Right there is where I'm expecting this hurricane season to be active the most. Maybe let's extend it up there, up to North Carolina, maybe into a bit of Virginia there. And also people down in Cuba, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Virgin Islands, Yucatan Peninsula. You guys also need to be prepared for this hurricane season. It could be a bad one in the next 3 months to 4 months. Let's go ahead and see the sea surface temperatures. Right now we are looking at the sea surface temperatures, and just because the ocean temperatures are below average in some areas doesn't mean they're not warm and warm enough to sustain a hurricane. So right here, say the Caribbean, it is pretty warm. But the MDR is a little bit like not productive in sea surface temperatures, as it's like 25 degrees Celsius, maybe getting to 24 in some areas in the MDR. And this is a time to highlight where the MDR is, right? It's right there. If you guys didn't see the last time I highlighted it when we were talking about how warm and cooler over there, we can see it's pretty cold. So let's see places for development. Ocean temperatures, not shear. We are not looking at shear right now, and we won't because we're not really in the main hurricane season yet, so we can't really do anything about it, but it will go down, trust me. Right here and down low till we get to South America, the Yucatan Peninsula, Mexico, all the way down there, and right here is all favorable for development. Let's just outline it right here. All favorable for development. All this ocean water here. A good bit of the MDR, probably about that much of the MDR is not favorable. Anything above 27 degrees Celsius and above is favorable. Maybe 26, it depends. But if we see this yellow here, anything that is that color is probably favorable. And it's warming. It will warm throughout the season. I mean, that's not a doubt. Shear will become less. It's just looking like a favorable hurricane season with this La Nina. Let's go ahead and look at African moisture and waves coming off the coast, and we'll see what the GFS predicts about that. Right now we are looking at the GFS model, precipitation and moisture basically, and we are seeing dust. This is also what is causing the dry air get into, you know, those to PTC1. We can see it's just so much dry air, so much here. It's not favorable, but we will see that recede throughout the model. So just keep a note. Let's just keep this outlined here, right? This is where a lot of the dry air is right now. Oh, well, 72 hours ago. Hold up, let's clean this up. Let's go to right now. And there, oh, 2 a.m. Let's go to 6 a.m. closest. Here. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Okay. That is where a lot of dry air is. And let's go to the end of the model. We're not saying this is going to happen, but here's the end of the model. We can see all that dust definitely recede. I mean, now, so compared that, okay, just keep this in mind, compared to this. I mean, the dust definitely recedes and creates a good, these thunderstorms come off of Africa and they go up and they start to form, right? Well, this is what's preventing that right now. We will be looking at the MJO, the Madden Julian Oscillation, and that also affects the hurricane season because basically this is what creates, the Madden Julian Oscillation is what creates the moisture that comes across into the MDR, right? So we can definitely see by June 20th, the end of the month, we could be seeing some pretty good activity in the MDR. Nothing crazy because, again, it's still June 20th, still pretty early on in the hurricane season. And we'll just have to see. I mean, we'll have to wait. This is a lot, like way too far out, so I couldn't show if there were any hurricanes or tropical storms or anything really, because it's so far out. It really doesn't matter. And I'm just going to tell you guys, the GFS model doesn't predict anything for the Atlantic, but it does predict some things for the Eastern Pacific, but it is way too far out, around 200 hours out for the Eastern Pacific one. So way too far out for it. But say this were to happen, this would be pretty active. I mean, this is ahead of schedule, right? So let's go ahead and look at the Madden Julian Oscillation, or the MGO. Right now we are looking at the MGO, and well, the predictions, it's seeing that we are, so 1, 2, and maybe 3 are the most favorable for the Atlantic hurricane season, but the farther it goes out, so you see how it went out over here, that causes active for the, I forgot, probably Eastern Pacific here. This is pretty active for the Eastern Pacific there. That was in the past. Let's see what the models predict here. The mean is expected going back. So you see the circle right here? Hold on. Right here. See the circle right there? If it is in that at all, that means it is neutral and doesn't really affect anyone. The farther it goes out, the more impact it will have. So say it was like that, right? Say the prediction was like that. That would be very favorable. That would be extremely favorable. But a lot of the models, most models, the mean right here is saying it will go like that, right back into its little circle. It maybe will go like that. We have no idea. But right now, again, at the beginning of the hurricane season, it is going to stay in that circle a lot. But as we go throughout, it will probably take around, like 2 weeks to go back around, maybe a month at most. If it starts right here, yeah, it'll probably take a month to do that. So we'll see. But this will really affect the main development region and how many storms come off that coast and how many can form. I say by July 15th, we could be seeing, by July 15th, we could be seeing some activity starting to form in the MDR, maybe getting close to July 20th. But yeah, that is what we are looking at right now. And let's have our last look of the video. Actually, not really our last look, but there is a surprise at the end of this video. But let's go to the National Hurricane Center and check on PTC1. So right now we are looking at PTC1, and we are seeing it's over Florida. It has not formed. It probably will form, but it won't be affecting anyone. It did cause a little bit of flooding concerns, but nothing too crazy. I mean, there's really not much left of the storm. It doesn't look too great. That's why I didn't do a video on it, because it really isn't too much anymore. The rain is mainly off of the coast now, as the low pressure system, it's just very lopsided. The shear is just blowing all the convection this way. So we'll see. And let me show you this last thing. It's actually pretty surprising. I have a surprise for you guys. And this is it. This is a surprise. I have made my own hurricane forecast. And what we are looking at is I predict 16 to 22 named storms, a little bit more than the National Hurricane Center. 7 to 11 hurricanes, around the same as the National Hurricane Center. It's 3 to 6 major hurricanes. We could have like 4 or 5, but I just have would like to have a bigger range, so you can just have an idea. So prepare for the worst. So prepare for 25 named storms, prepare for 14 hurricanes, and prepare for 7 major hurricanes. I'm not saying that'll happen. I'm just saying prepare for the worst. Rather be safe than sorry. And yeah, this is it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.